Okay. What is your name?
My name is Fernando Sanchez Costa.
Okay. And where were you born?
I was born in Barcelona 30 years ago.
Okay. Where do you live now?
I live in Barcelona, one of the nicest cities in the world and in the Mediterranean.
Very nice. What do you do for a living? What's your occupation?
Well, now I'm completely dedicated to politics, but before I was a lecturer at the university, International University of Catalonia.
Okay. How are you involved with the issue of Catalonian independence? What have you been doing over the past few weeks?
Of course, I'm very involved because I'm member of the parliament, and we are all day discussing this issue in this parliament. So we don't discuss about anything else than about this question. We think it's a problem because the citizens have a lot of problems, and we are all day just discussing about these things, which is not necessary in this moment.
Okay. What will you be doing today related to this issue?
Yes, well, I'm now writing and co-editing a book with several scholars and journalists about the question. I'm writing a chapter about the history of Catalonia and its relationship with all history of Spain. So how Catalonia has been linked to Spanish history. We are not an oppressed nation, and I think that if you go along Barcelona, you see there is no a real national problem here. But and as I'm writing about this thing, and these days I'm working on this book, and I'm coordinating it with other scholars and journalists, because there is something interesting. During years, people that believes in the unity of Spain and the Spanish nation, we have been a bit aslept, sleeping in Catalonia, and they have waken up us. So we have waken up, and we have begun to move, to organize ourselves, to write, to make movies, to do things, and that's good.
What is Partido Popular's opinion on this issue?
Well, we have many opinions. The first one is that this debate was completely unnecessary. It's anachronic. We're in the 21st century, and we don't have to be in the debates of the 19th century. We are a modern society. Barcelona is a cultural, economic capital of Europe, of the world, and we don't see the necessity of that debate. In Catalonia, there was not a real strong demand for that debate, but the main party has decided to put it onto the table just in the moment that we were going across one of the most hard economical crises in our history. So we think that it has been very unloyal as well with Spanish people, with Catalan people, with the Spanish government, in the moment when Spain was very weak economically, in the moment when the country was under pressure of the markets, and they have put onto the table this attempt to break the unity of Spain with the turbulence it means. So it was not the moment, it was not the time, and we of course are in favor of the unity of Spain because of many reasons. We're in favor of that unity because of our feelings, because of history, because of economical reasons, because we have friends, we have families in the rest of Spain, and we don't want to see them as foreigners. And we don't want to be foreigners in our country, which is Spain, which is Catalonia. There are, of course, political and juridical reasons. So in Catalonia, we voted the constitution in '78. Not just voted, but the Catalan members were an important part of the Constitutional Commission, and they wrote also the constitution. Catalonia was one of the Spanish regions when it was more voted, and it says clearly that Spain is one nation, where there are several or nationalities, and of course we're in favor of that concept. So unity with which respects its plurality, and that's what happens in Spain. If you go around, you'll see that everything is written in Catalan. In Barcelona, people speaks in Catalan. If I want to so I don't find schools in Catalonia, public schools for my sons, where they can be taught in Spanish. They will be all taught in Catalan. So where is the problem? We don't see exactly where is the problem.
I see. When did you first become involved in this movement?
I've been always interested in politics, but sorry, someone is calling me.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Irene, sí. Estoy en una reunión con un periodista. Vale, luego te llamo. No, I have to say that I had been always interested in politics, but I was not in the first line. But it was precisely when all that movement began to emerge that I decided to go further, and I became I entered in the lists, and I became a member of the parliament, because it was like, let's say, the motivation that brought me to involve myself active in politics.
Why did you want to become involved in politics? Why did you put yourself on the list?
Yes, of course, because I saw that Catalonia was going for in a populist, very populistic situation, a lot of demagogic arguments. Our convivence, our history, our future was in danger, and then I decided to involve myself, because my father comes from Castilla, my mother was born in a little village in Catalonia, and I don't see why should we break our model. It works. It has been working for many years. We are a pluralistic society. We have one of the biggest and higher autonomy in Europe, with a lot of competences in cultural matters, in economical matters, in political matters. And I don't know why we have to break it and to confront society and put one people in, you're in that side or in that other side. No, we have been together during 500 years, and we can continue together.
When were you elected to this parliament? How long ago?
2 years.
2 years ago. And was your motivation related to this issue of independence, or did you have a separate motivation?
No, I have separate motivation, of course, but I mean the point that brought me to move forward and to enter in the list was exactly that problem.
I see. What is Partido Popular's position on a referendum? Do you want to have a referendum? Do you not want to have a referendum?
We think that we cannot have a referendum because our legal status or constitution does not allow it, and we don't want to have it and to celebrate it because we think it divides population. It's not the moment. It's not the moment, and we are living this economical crisis, and we believe in our nation, that has been an important nation in history, that is a nation that has a lot of things to say in the future. And we think that we have a lot of things to gain together that we could lose if we become separate. So Spain would lose, Catalonia would lose, and we want to win. We want to win both. So Catalonia and the whole of Spain. Of course, there are things that can be better, and the Spanish government has always said that We are open to debate them, to discuss them, but which is not questionable, or that what we cannot debate is the Spanish unity, which was voted for 90% of the Catalans just 35 years ago. I mean, the United States Constitution was voted 200 years ago. And people here say, no, it was voted 45 years ago, we have to change it. Well, there are a lot of constitutions in the world more ancient than ours. It has been a good model of convivence, of integration, and we still believe in the project.
I see. Why is this issue so important?
We think that it's so important because the Catalan political elites leaders have decided that it should be so important. I mean, 5 years ago, only 20% of Catalan people were for independence. 10 years ago, only 20% of people were for independence. 15 years ago, 20%, and suddenly it has grown to 50%. Why? And if we see statistics, we think that it has to do with economical crisis, and it has to do as the way that the political leaders in Catalonia, and especially social media and public media, have tried to foster this feeling and have put all their energies, times and money to foster these energies. So it's not normal that the public television dedicates 15 hours to cover the human chain and to interview people and a lot of propaganda. So there are, of course, political reasons, there are many reasons, but People for Independence has always been more or less onto 20% in Catalonia. It suddenly has grown to 50%. Why? Many reasons, but the main one, in our opinion, is that political leaders and media leaders in Catalonia have decided to foster that feeling. Maybe because they wanted to affront or to deal. They don't want to deal with the economic crisis. So we have had in the Spanish government to take very difficult decisions. They have decided to cover all decisions with the propaganda of independence, and that questions of the Spanish is stealing us, which is the same discourse that is doing the Liga Norte in northern Italy, this party, and populist movements in Europe. So we want the money for us, we will live better if we are independent because we'll have all our money and things like that. That it's very difficult to understand for other people. Now, so they have moved in their frameworks and they have done it well. First of all, the construction of a national imaginary, then to socialize it, the narrative of Spain is oppressing us, Spain is stealing us, and now the narrative of democracy. Also, it has been a very studied movement, and it has worked, it has to be said.
What is the best possible outcome of this situation?
Well, crises are always also opportunities. And of course, there are problems in our system. And the economic crisis has put onto the table that there are a lot of problems in our model. And we must sit, speak, talk, and solve that problems. Also in our territorial model, in our territorial system in Spain, there are some problems. I think there are not a lot of problems. It's more a problem of subjective perception than objective realities. But it is real that many people in Catalonia have the feeling that there are problems. Okay, then we must try to sit and to talk about those problems. And then in the rest of Spain, we have to do an effort in order that that amount of people don't feel that Catalans are not welcome in Spain, Catalans are a bit left in the national project. I don't think it's real, but many people think it's it's something that happens, and then there are subjective perceptions problems, and we must solve them, and we must talk, and but with rationality, with without propaganda, and trying to to get an agreement based on our history and our interest. And I think that we all see that if we are together, it is better for both that if we go separated, especially because Catalonia will be apart from European Union, and it would be a catastrophe for Catalonia. Then let's sit to talk, and let's also try to do what laws say, because we are in a state of law, and then we have to do what laws say.
What would be an example of an agreement that you would support?
As I say, it's more a question of perceptions than of real problems. And I think that it would be interesting to sit and to talk about Catalan language. Okay? Because many people in Catalonia think that our language is not valorated in the rest of Spain. So let's see if people can learn a bit about Catalan in the rest of Spain. There are also fiscal and economical disagreements, but we can sit and talk about them. I think that Spain now has to rethink itself as we did 40 years ago. So we have covered a time period, 2 generations, and it's time to rethink what we are as a nation, what we want to be in the world. And then the important thing is that the Catalan people feel integrated in the project of rethinking Spain and rebuilding Spain. And we can do it as we did 40 years ago.
What about a solution, something like the Basque region, where there's a different tax collection system in Catalonia? Would you support that? Why or why not?
The Basque fiscal situation is the exception. It cannot be the rule. And now it has some problems with European legal order. I don't think it's the solution. I don't think in other thing, also because Catalonia is much more important in economics than the Basque country in the Spanish economy. It's not the solution, but so what maybe we have to rethink is the Basque fiscal privilege. Okay, that's something that maybe we should think about. Because in a modern nation, it has no sense that you have special treatment because you are in the 12th century. You had the special. Okay, so, but of course, we must think about our fiscal system and to say we cannot always give money to other people and not check what is done with that money, how it's used. So we have to rationalize our economical solidarity system in Spain, keeping always solidarity, because social justice, and also we don't pay more because being Catalan, we pay more because being richer. Okay, and social justice and giving more money to those who are poor is one of the bases of European modern economical and social system. And I don't know why the nationalist left in Catalonia also does this discourse of we want the money for us, because that's a typical unsolidaric discourse.
What are the solutions to Spain's economic problems in general?
I think the Spanish government is doing things well. So today we have read the news. It was that the Spanish PIB, I don't know the word, the PIB, so the economical growth was very important in the first quarter of the year. It was also positive in the last quarter of 2013. We have done a lot of sacrifices. We have done them, but we have done what we had to do. We have gained competitivity. Our business are ready to compete in the world. Our exportations have grown a lot. We're the third country, and we are doing things well. And Spain is back in the world. So in the markets we can see it. How people is investing a lot in Spain, and we hope that in 1 year Spain will be again an important country in the economical order.
What is the worst possible outcome of the Catalonian independence situation? What outcome do you fear the most?
A social clash. So the rupture or the break of the convivence in Catalonia, that we divide into communities and two communities fighting one another. That's the worst thing that it could happen. And a social revolution in the streets, I think it has no sense. It has no sense. But it has to be said that the Spanish government has a determination to avoid that to happen, and also to avoid that an unloyal politics make profit of a very difficult economical moment for Spain, and try to drive population to their own interests. But of course there will come hard times and tough times and difficult times, but that's why we exist, the politicians. A lot of times we create problems. I think this problem has been created by politicians, but now we have to solve it as well.
Okay, so last question. People from all over the world may be seeing this video. What's the most important thing that they should know about what's happening here?
I think they should know two things. The first one is that Catalonia is a pluralistic society. And we are a mixture society, and there are a lot of opinions in Catalonia, people for independence, people who are not for independence. And sometimes it seems that there are only one kind of people and one kind of argument. But if you see, for instance, the last general elections in Spain, so that the parties who won are not voting for the referendum now. And in the Spanish courts, the majority of Catalan MP have voted against the referendum. The Catalans MPs, the majority of them. So it's not so clear where are majorities. And the second thing is that it's very important is that we are not an oppressed nations. Many of people who are watching this video maybe have come to Barcelona, and they have seen and they have experienced how we live, how we normally live our identity. Our school is in Catalan, our politics is done in Catalan, so there is not an European regions with such an autonomy, political autonomy, economical autonomy, cultural autonomy as Catalonia. And then we think that we are in the 21st century, and just we have to add and not to rest, to multiply and not to divide. And we can build many things together with all the peoples of Spain, and we hope that will be the future. And we don't see the future is to divide peoples and to build new borders and frontiers, and no, the future goes in another direction. I hope we all understand this.
Excellent.